Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Daphne Adler. I'm one of the counselors at Los Altos, for those who don't know me, and I'm really happy to welcome you to our Study in England workshop, which is part of our International University Month webinar series. We've been having about 3 weeks of workshops now, and it's been fantastic, and then we still have more coming next week too. So keep hanging with us. And today we're going to be focused on England alone. Last night we had a fabulous webinar about UK and Ireland. So if you are interested in that region, definitely check that out because that's more of like an overview. And then we're going to have focused workshops on Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Ireland next week, as well as Asia, different topics. So keep checking these out and you're going to get a lot of information. So for today, I'm going to introduce our panelists and then they're going to get rolling with our presentation, and then we'll take questions and answers at the end. And students, please feel free to turn your cameras on if you wish. Please do ask questions, and you can put them in, or did I say Q&A before? In the chat box, I mean. Please put them in the chat box. We want this to be interactive and for you to find out everything you possibly can right from the source, which is our wonderful university reps. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Catherine Eames from Imperial College in London, Alana Stuart from University of East Anglia in the east of England, and Tim Pilkington from University of Essex, also in the east. And I met the two of them last year on a university tour, which was fantastic, right before the pandemic. And last but not least, Gary Coulter from University of Bristol. So they're gonna take it away and tell you guys a whole lot about England. So take it away, Tim.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Daphne. So yeah, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon from quite a rainy UK. My name is Tim. I'm the International Officer for North America at the University of Essex, and I'm going to be starting the presentation. I'm just sharing my screen now. Can everyone see that? Thank you, thanks. Good stuff. So I'll start at the beginning. So yes, I'm going to have a few slides speaking about why England is such an attractive study destination for students from the US. I've got a few slides about finance, as well as my own university, the University of Essex, before I'll be passing on to my colleagues from other universities. So we'll start at the beginning as to why England. I thought it might be best to start with a little bit of a geography lesson. Those of you who are in our session yesterday will have been explained this a little bit. I've got a map up here. You'll see there are 2 islands. This is what's commonly referred to as the British Isles. It gets a bit more complex. There you'll see 5 nations essentially. The island on the right-hand side, there are 3 nations in there. So the red part is what I'm going to be speaking about today. That's England. At the top of the island, you'll see our lovely friendly neighbours to the north, that's Scotland, and to the west are even lovelier friends in Wales. Then on the left hand side you'll see that's the island of Ireland, and that's split into 2 parts as well. So you have the top part, that's Northern Ireland, which is considered as part of the United Kingdom, and then you have the south, the Republic of Ireland below. There is a long political and historical conversation that we could have about that, but we would be here all day, but we're all friends now. Then in my photos, you'll see I've got the Houses of Parliament and the Clock Tower, most commonly referred to as Big Ben. That's in London, our capital. I've got the St. George's Cross, which is the flag of England. And I do have the royal family there, which really, as specifically England, we can't claim. They've got a wider reach, but they do own a couple of rather large houses in England and spend a lot of time there. So for the purposes of this presentation, I will be keeping it. But it's far more than that. England is the most densely populated and the largest geographical area of the whole of the UK. We're home to about 55 million people. Home to Shakespeare and Oxbridge and Chaucer and Stonehenge and Cups of Tea and James Bond and Benedict Cumberbatch and the Great British Bake Off and many, many others. But more importantly, we're home to many international students, including a number of students from the US. Currently, it's about 20,000 US students, and this is a number which is growing as US students are considering overseas and other options to US universities. There's around 100 universities, well, just over 100 universities in England out of around 130 in the whole of the UK. And we've been doing higher education for a while. So university level teaching started in around the 12th century. So kind of coming up to kind of close to 1,000 years, 900 years now. So we've been doing it a long time, and we've got, yeah, a long-standing reputation and history for higher education in the UK. We're home to the #1 international student city, that's London. Many of you, if you've been to the UK, may well have flown directly into London, and there are some fantastic universities in the city. One of the best you'll be hearing from later on in this presentation, Imperial College London, as well as many others in London, but it goes far beyond that. In England, we have a number of very large and exciting and cool, fun cities. Daphne has visited many universities outside of London, and hopefully can speak with them with some fondness. But that includes places like Bristol and Norwich. I'm currently in Nottingham, another university city in the UK. So there are a wide range of options available to students, and you'll be able to study what you love from day one. And I'll go on to mean to say what I mean on the next slide. So why England, the headlines? Generally speaking, we have shorter degrees in England. There are exceptions, but for the most part, our bachelor's degrees in England and in Wales and Northern Ireland, to be fair, are 3 years in duration. So we don't do general ed. So all 3 years are focused purely on the subject that you want to be studying. Now, as I mentioned, there are exceptions. For example, medicine in the UK is 5 years. Medicine's a little bit complicated, and we can discuss that later. But if you were to be doing an integrated master's or a year overseas as part of your course, that would turn it into a 4 years. But for the most part, they're 3 years. The tuition fees are considered very competitive, particularly in relation to if you're looking at out-of-state options or private options in the US. The UK can be seen as you know, a viable, competitive option financially. There's not that great fluctuation in tuition fees amongst UK universities. There are a few private universities in the UK, but not many. The vast majority are funded, well, publicly and through a number of different ways. So there's not a great difference in the tuition fees. Generally between 20 to 30,000 US is expected. Again, there will be some exceptions for courses like medicine, but that's the general ballpark which you're going to be looking at. On top of that, scholarships are offered. I have a slide later on finance and funding. Vast majority of universities are FAFSA accredited, so students will be able to use federal aid in the UK, as well as things like veterans benefits are also accepted. The application procedure is very straightforward. Now, again, I spoke a lot about this in the session last night, and Daphne will have the recording of that. And I won't have a great amount of time to be discussing UCAS and applications, but it's very straightforward. It's similar to the common application, I suppose, is a good comparison. We're going to be looking at your grades, a personal statement, and a reference from your school, and that's it. And the universities in the UK tend to be far more grades focused when we're assessing students. When you come to the UK, you'll be on what's known as a Tier 4 student visa, or currently students arriving will be on a Tier 4 student visa, although there are changes being made to the visa system. What this means is that you'll be able to stay in the UK for the duration of your studies. For students who are going to be starting in 2021, there has been a new graduate route that has been announced, allowing students to stay on for 2 years after they have graduated. Also, on your student visa, you'll be able to work. So you can get jobs on or off campus and work for 20 hours per week whilst you're studying. And during the holidays, you can work for however long you want. Now, most of our US students use the holidays to maybe do a bit of traveling, either in and around the United Kingdom or Europe. Studying in the UK is a great gateway to Europe because it's so easy in more normal times to travel in and around Europe. So I'll just move to the next slide before I start talking about my university. So yeah, this slide's focused really on the financial components of things. As I mentioned before, the tuition fees are extremely competitive in the UK. So generally between 20 to perhaps 30 a year. And then on top of that, there's living costs. Living costs vary depending on your lifestyle and where it is that you are living. So London, one of the largest student cities, is also one of the most expensive to be living in, whereas some campuses outside of London might be significantly cheaper to be living in. As I mentioned before, you're going to be studying for 3 years, so you have one less year of fees to pay, and you'll be able to work as part of your visa. I think that's everything from the general England part. Now, please feel free to ask any questions in the comments, as Daphne said before. I just have a couple of quick slides on my university, the University of Essex, and then I'll hand over. So we're a university that's located in the south of England. We are a relatively modern university. One of the more common misconceptions, I think, when I'm speaking with US students is that when they study in England, they're going to be studying at an ancient university, or they're going to be studying in a castle, or whatever it might be. Now, in England itself, there are very few ancient universities. Most universities are sort of 19th century and onwards, and we're no exception. So we were established in 1963. Historically, we have been a very politically active university, and that was very true from the outset of the university. The students, after a couple of years of study, took over the university and claimed it as their own, claimed it as a free university outside of government control. The politics have gotten a little less radical as time has gone on, but that political spirit has sort of stayed and remains, and is reflected in our course offerings. We're a medium-sized university by UK standards. We've got 15,000 students, and it's a very international experience. So over 35% of our students are considered overseas. And this is common amongst UK universities more generally. I think the Russell Group average is perhaps 25% international, but most universities in the UK will have a very large international cohort, including many students from the US. Now, we have 3 locations at the University of Essex. We have the Colchester campus, that's based less than an hour from London. Another great thing about the UK and England is that it's so small, so it's very easy to travel around. So our Colchester, our largest campus, is it's 45 minutes by train to central London. We also have a campus in London, that's Loughton, our acting school, and we have a campus in the South End, which is a seaside resort in the south, where we have some of our business, acting, and dentistry courses. Last slide for me, and then I'll shut up forever. So this is why US students would choose to study specifically at Essex. And what I love about our US students is that they all come to study for different reasons. Often a student will have a connection to the UK. Perhaps they have family living there, or their ancestry is from there. Some might be attracted by the cost or the course profiles, etc. So at Essex, in terms of full degree students, we get around 100 US students per year. Our students like us because we have our large, vibrant campus, which is very close to London, but not within the city itself. So it's very easy to get in and out, but you don't have to kind of commit to the London student life. I mentioned before, like most UK universities, we're FAFSA accredited. And I just wanted to bring to your attention a couple of academic areas that we are particularly strong at. So we get a lot of US students for our acting school. It's called East 15. It's the only non-American school in the world to be recognized by IRTA. They audition in the US every year, and they're considered as one of the most competitive acting schools in the UK. So if you're looking at courses like acting or physical theatre or world performance, Essex is a very strong option. Similarly for social sciences, particularly the field of human rights we're very famous for. Politics and international relations, we're currently 29th in the world. As I've mentioned before, the university has got a long history of being very politically motivated. So that's something which, again, a lot of our US students come to us to study. Finally, we do have a number of scholarships available to students. I should mention in the UK that scholarships tend to be less of the sort of the larger full ride type scholarships that might be offered at some US institutions. They tend to be smaller rewards, usually for academic performance. So it might be perhaps 20% off the course fee. That's really what we offer. We offer a £3,000 scholarship off a £15,000 course fee. That is everything from myself. So I will stop sharing my screen and I shall hand over to Catherine, I believe.
Yes, that's right. So
Thank you.
I'll try sharing my screen next. So, hopefully you can see that okay. So I have got a few more slides, but I promise to keep it fairly brief as well. So an introduction to Imperial. We are in the heart of London. We are quite unique in the UK, being solely focused on STEM subjects at undergraduate level. So I'll go in a bit more detail about that later, but we are very much a STEM focused university. We're pretty good at what we do, consistently ranked kind of in the top 10, top 5 of kind of global as well as national rankings. But I like to kind of highlight a couple of the rankings that I think kind of talk about us more as an institution. Firstly, we are voted the UK's most international university. You heard from Tim how it is very common in the UK to have a very diverse international student body, and we're very proud of that fact. Actually, well over half of our students come from outside the UK, and that can really enrich your learning experiences. You're getting ideas and perspectives from around the globe. We also collaborate widely internationally as well with partners across the globe. We've also been voted the UK's most innovative university, so that's for our programmes of kind of enterprise and entrepreneurship and the support we give our students, as we really think they are incredibly bright and will be able to make a difference to the world around them as they really kind of tackle world issues. Speaking of which, obviously at the moment, unfortunately, we can't go very far without sort of thinking about the pandemic, but just to highlight how Imperial really is at the forefront of the fight against COVID-19. Our epidemiologists and our scientists are advising both national and international governments on how to deal with the pandemic. We are one of the UK universities developing our own vaccine under Professor Robin Shattuck. We're developing rapid testing, cheap ventilator production, or even down to hand sanitizer. Across our departments, we really are at the heart of the fight against the disease. Now, I said we're in London, so just to kind of highlight some of the benefits of being in such a great city. So as you heard, it's been voted the best student city in the world by QS, and we'd really kind of back that up. You really get to use kind of London as your extended campus when you are studying with us. So if you have visited London, you may well have walked past our doors without realising it. We are next to the Science Museum, next to the Natural History Museum, the Victor and Albert Museum, right next to Hyde Park. So in a really lovely part of the city, being in South Kensington. So you have all that kind of cultural aspect, all the social events going on campus, but this can be of great benefit to you academically as well. So in normal times, at least, there'd be things like our Museum Late series. So after lectures, you could go along to the Science Museum and, for example, hear that specialist talk going on just next door to campus. So I mentioned we're STEM focused, but we have a very wide range of programmes within those fields. So you wouldn't, for example, come and do a general engineering programme, as Tim explained. There's not a general kind of education first year. You would get straight in to a very specific programme with us, such as aeronautics or design engineering, materials, for example. So we do have a very wide range of quite specific programmes within STEM. So just quickly to mention the entry requirements, as we are on the more competitive side of things. So APs really are the key to applying to us. So we do need at least 3 APs with scores of 5, and particularly within those relevant subjects. So if, you know, coming to do a STEM program, calc, the sciences will be really important. Just to highlight a couple of additional tests. So for mathematics and medicine, there are additional tests, and sometimes computing often may include the STEP paper as well. But obviously on our website, there's lots of more individual information around that, and I'll be happy to answer questions too. So kind of with those high academics in mind, you know, we can have that reputation of kind of being all work and no play, but that's really not the case. It really astounds me how our students are doing these really demanding programs to a very high level, but still have time to do an amazing amount of stuff. So we have one of the largest offerings of clubs and societies of any UK university. We have over 380 different ones. So yes, you can get involved in the kind of sport you might expect, cultural societies. We have orchestras on campus, or actually next to the Royal College of Music, so you can use their practice rooms. We have an art gallery on campus, and of course, being a techie university, we have things like our robotics society and our drone society. But if you just want to sit around and meet people and be very English, we do also have a tea drinking society as well. So I just wanted to highlight a bit around that innovation side that I mentioned, because this is a really exciting opportunity for our students, no matter which department you're in, to get involved in kind of having access to things like 3D printers, laser cutter, woodwork machines through our hack spaces. So the whole idea is if you have that kind of eureka moment, you think of a great product that's going to change the world, you can go along and make that into a reality. If you have this great product, what do you do with it? How do you get it out there to the wider world? Well, now you can go along to our enterprise lab, take part in mentorship schemes, collaborate with students from other departments, perhaps even take part in competitions such as the Venture Catalyst Challenge, and get that idea out there to the wider world as a viable business. And all this really kind of feeds into the fact that we, you know, produce some fantastic graduates who go on to do a great number of things in many different fields, whether in their areas or, as I mentioned, kind of carving their own path through that enterprise program. So I'll just leave you with one example of one of our recent graduates who kind of took that journey with us. So one of our medics was on the wards one day, and he saw one of his patients really struggling to eat a bowl of soup as her hand was tremoring so much as she had Parkinson's disease. He was inspired to go along to the hack space I mentioned, start making things, prototyping ideas, and he eventually settled on a design of a hand stabilizing glove. Once he had this design, he took it along to the enterprise lab, learned how to kind of pitch his ideas, make it into a viable business. And actually just 2 years ago, as well as graduating as a doctor, he was awarded a €1.8 million investment to get his product out there to the wider world. So yes, you know, our students are doing great things directly related to their degrees, but they're also carving their own path as well. So do keep in touch after this. I'll provide my contact details, I'm sure, via the school. But just to kind of highlight, you can reach out to our students as well and ask them questions, and also have a look at our virtual tour as well, which is new this year. Okay, with that, I'll pass over to Gary at Bristol.
Hello, everybody. My name's, can everyone hear me? Yes, I'm sure you can. My name's Gary. I'm from the University of Bristol. Just so you all know, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan. So I know what it is like to suffer for a long time. Right, I'm going to share my screen, which I hope this will work. There we go. So can someone just give me a thumbs up so you can see this?
You can see it, Gary, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. So, as I said, my name's Gary Coulter. I'm from the University of Bristol. This is sort of an iconic shot of the city. This is the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which you will see in a lot of our marketing materials, as well as many hot air balloons, as we are the UK Centre for Hot Air Ballooning. So where are we? Well, we are in the southwest of the UK. So everybody knows London, big city in the southeast. Bristol is a big city in the southwest. We're directly west of London, about 90 minutes away in a car, well, 2 hours in a car, 90 minutes on a train. We're a large city, and we have our own international airport, very well connected to the rest of the UK. Now, I'm going to start and talk about the city, because the city of Bristol is one of the best things about coming to Bristol to study as a university. It's such a wonderful, welcoming, warm place. It's a friendly city. We have a huge number currently we have over 100 American students studying with us, and we have students from over 100 different countries worldwide. It's won numerous awards over the years, including awards like Green Capital of Europe, which it was awarded in 2015. It's been named coolest UK city. It's been named in several different rankings as the best city to live in the UK, one of which was the What Uni Awards in 2015, which was named best UK city for student life. And I think critically what this says and shows to people is that, look, Bristol's a really friendly, arty, warm, welcoming place. And it's a place where our students are happy, which is really, really important to us. So with that in mind, moving on to the university itself is also very highly ranked. We are currently 9th in the UK and 58th worldwide, very highly targeted by top employers. And Bristol is a sort of a traditional old British university with a mix of old and obviously some new buildings as well. We were established back in 1876. We've been linked with 13 different Nobel Prize winners, the most famous of which was probably Winston Churchill, who was the Chancellor of the University of Bristol for 36 years, from 1929 until his death in 1965. We have over 20,000 undergraduates and 7,000 PG students. And in 2023, we're investing £350 million in a new Temple Coulter business campus. So as well as many of the old traditional buildings that you can see sort of in this picture, the Wills Memorial Building, which is hundreds of years old, we also have a lot of very new modern facilities as well. These are all the different subject areas that we offer. I won't go through them all individually because that would obviously take far too long. I'll just to give you an overview. A few areas that stand out are particularly things like engineering. So in Bristol itself is the largest aerospace engineering centre in all of Europe is located in Bristol. So you have companies like Rolls-Royce and Airbus and Augusta Westland located right here in the city. Excuse me. And we offer a whole range of aerospace, civil, electrical, structural, mechanical engineering, mass design. And then along with that, the sort of computer sciences, the sciences, all the standard social sciences and law. And we offer medicine, dentistry, and veterinary science. So we have a vet school, and we're very excited to say that this year we have been awarded the American Veterinary Medical Association accreditation. So any North American students who come and study at our vet school will be accredited to practice when they go back home. So just to sort of finish up a little bit about the city, just to give you a little bit of a visual view. This is an aerial shot of the city. In the sort of top right-hand corner of this picture, all of those buildings around that area, that is the university buildings. As you then come down towards the bottom right of the picture, that's moving down into the city centre. You can see our beautiful harbour side running along the left-hand side of the screen. And then at the top of the screen, you can see the Clifton Suspension Bridge. As you can see, it's a very green, very beautiful city. It's very easy to get around. You don't need to use public transport. The vast majority of our students either use bicycles or they walk everywhere. And if you look at the bottom right, the sort of green square that you can see, that square there during the COVID outbreak was converted, so they put all these little hearts on the floor so people could maintain social distancing bubbles, but they could still go out and enjoy the warm weather over the summer, have a picnic, etc. So just to sort of finish up, Bristol is quite famous, but in many cases we are sort of only famous in Bristol, which is a bit of a shame. But we don't really know why that is, because we should be famous. We've done lots of different things over the years. Discovering North America was kind of a big one. So John Cabot set sail from Bristol in 1497 on the Matthew, that ship you can see there. There's a replica of that in the harbour in Bristol, and landed in Newfoundland in 1498. And that was kind of a big thing. and obviously very synonymous with North American history. But in its modern guise, Bristol is very arty. It's very much a young city, very liberal. It's the UK's capital of street art. And Banksy, who's a very famous street artist, and you can see some of his pictures on the bottom left and right here, he's from Bristol, and all over the city you can see different sort of Banksy street arts. We're the home of the International Hot Air Balloon Fiesta. And it is, as I said, this very arty, very young city, lots of different food and music festivals that go on through the year. And mentioning food, it is an absolute foodie haven. So if you're a food lover like me, Bristol is a fantastic place to come. It's been won various different awards. So it's been named the vegan capital of the world by some things. It's one of its restaurants was named the best in the UK, and even has a cat pub. In fact, I think it now has 2 cat pubs. So if you like cats, you can go into a pub, enjoy a pint of English beer, and be surrounded by lots of very cute little kittens. And that's it from me. So I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to hand over finally to Alana.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me just find my window here. This is what happens when you have so many things open on your computer. All right. We are going to go last, but certainly not least, to the University of East Anglia. I am the regional manager for UEA for the USA and Canada. I am actually based in Michigan, so you can tell by my accent, I'm clearly not British, but am only usually 3 hours time difference, but not too far away from you when all things are considered, I guess. So University of East Anglia, you may not have heard it. We also heard of it before, but hopefully you will definitely be considering it afterwards. We go by UEA. We were founded in 1963. So like University of Essex, we're what's kind of referred to as a plate glass university. So there are a bunch of universities founded in the 60s. And so Essex and UEA are 2 examples of those. They have very similar architecture, actually, if you take a look at their campuses. We are a public campus-based research university. So our professors are doing groundbreaking research in their fields and submitting all of those findings, again, to their fields and making sure that they are contributing. So you're going to be working under faculty who are doing awesome things pretty much all the time and across all fields. I will show you the subject areas that we have later, but we do have over 160 undergraduate programs spread out under 4 faculties and 23 schools. We do offer both undergraduate and postgraduates, and our population is about 17,000 total. So again, within both of those, but predominantly undergraduate students. And then of that, about 17% is international from about 100 different countries around the world. So like most British institutions, we are pretty diverse. We are pretty international. And then finally, within the rankings too, I always just, again, like to establish this because, again, you may not have heard of UEA before, but we are actually a world top 200 institution and a UK top 25. So again, just to give you those rankings to sort of establish us as a legitimate place for you to be continuing your education. We are in Norwich, England, which on that map is located where that pink glint is. It's about an hour and a half northeast of London by train and 30 minutes from the coastline. So you can take a trip to the beach there. That area of the country is countryside. It's a lot of farmland too, which gives you a nice pastoral, relaxing atmosphere to study within. But within that, Norwich is one of the largest, if not the largest city for that area, with a population of about 130,000. So we are a city. Some of those pictures on the left-hand side do highlight us kind of as a city. It's very historic. We're a medieval city. So we have that mix of the old buildings, but also combined with the new. We have 30 medieval churches, also 2 cathedrals. You can see our castle there. It's in the second picture from the bottom. I always say it's not like a Cinderella castle, but it's a castle nonetheless. It is perched up on a hill, more of a fortress castle than kind of a pretty fantastical castle, but again, castle nonetheless. And in that downtown area, we have about 4 shopping malls, if not more than that. So we are a top 10 shopping destination within the UK. I feel like Gary stole my thunder a little because we were named the top vegan city in the UK, but considering they're the top in the world, I think that might have us beat a tiny bit. And then we also, especially for the region, were named the top city to live in this past year. And we also do talk about Norwich as definitely being one of the key points to Norwich, and why we strongly suggest it to students, and why it differentiates from other places you might go to. From other colleagues who do live in the UK who have traveled to Norwich, we've been told, in comparison to some other places, that individuals are very friendly. We're also very welcoming, and there's a lot of cross collaboration between the university and the community itself. And I'll be talking about one of these examples a little bit, but specifically for our engineering program. But again, it is kind of your quintessential British experience, a lot of cobblestone streets, churches kind of around every corner. And so again, just a nice place for students to be living. Our campus is about 3 miles from the city center, or what would be a 20 to 25-minute double-decker bus ride. So you can jump on the top of the bus and ride at the front and nerd out like I did. We do have accommodations on campus, so students are allowed to stay on our campus. We have a wide variety of price ranges for every budget. So you can see kind of the pink circles, the magenta circles with the houses are kind of all the accommodations that we have, plus there's more. We have the largest sports park in Britain, or the largest indoor one. So you can see all the fields and pitches off to the right-hand side. So the community is allowed to use that, so that again allows for the community and student collaboration. But yeah, it's an excellent facility with an Olympic-sized swimming pool, as well as a rock climbing wall, plus all of your cardio and weightlifting equipment. We do have sports clubs, and for some of our focus sports, we do have scholarships, or what they refer to as bursaries, for students. So if you're interested in playing sports, you could definitely come to UEA and do so. On top of that, other highlights are the student union. So we have pubs on campus, most UK universities do, as well as a live music venue. So in a non-COVID year, we would have 60 or more live music gigs per year. So you're going to be exposed to a lot of UK musicians, artists, and musical groups. On top of that, we do get internationally recognized names. In the past, we've had Katy Perry, Ed Sheeran, we've also had Snoop Dogg and Coldplay. So again, kind of a wide variety of music there. Library is open 24/7, so if you do need a quiet place to study, you can go there at any point in time. And then we do have the Sainsbury's Center for Visual Arts, and I'm a little upset that this map actually covers the front of it because we talk about this building specifically. It is a museum on our campus, so it does house an art collection and kind of rotating exhibits. But the reason why we always mention it is because it is featured in the Avengers films. So one of the co-directors of the Avengers studied script writing at UEA, so he decided to feature this building in the films. So if you've seen any of the more recent Avengers films, you've actually seen UEA's campus, you just don't know that you have seen it. So kind of a cool, again, little fact that we like to share. We are located on 320 acres of parkland. So within that, students have a lot of green space to take advantage of. There is the lake on the left-hand side that you can see there. There's barbecue grills, and students lay out on the green space and just kind of socialize with each other. We've also been utilizing that green space a lot for COVID-friendly activities. So within the past welcoming few weeks since getting students onto campus, we've had a big top circus set up there that also had cabarets, workshops students could participate in, as well as comedians and some other events. And then also we had an outdoor light up art exhibit. So there were art installations from world known or world famous artists kind of spread out throughout campus, so that students could go take a look at them at night, and they could again do that in a COVID safe environment. So you can see it's very nice. Surrounding the area is kind of the living space or more housing areas. So students tend to live in that housing after they've lived on campus for 1 year. So to head off to our academic side of things, these are all of our programs. Again, there are over 160 undergraduate programs that we have to offer. Creative writing and environmental science are double starred there. And the reason why they are those are the two programs that we are known for by far. So when people talk about UEA, those are the two programs. So I believe it was one of the first schools of environmental science in the UK and the first creative writing program in the UK. So again, we're very well known for that, but we also do well with some other programs, and those include business, economics, and international development, amongst others. So we do have the standard 3-year programs, along with options to do a year abroad, a year in industry, or a placement year on top of most of these courses. So those are worth investigating if you do kind of want to build in an extra experience to your degree within that. And then also we opened a brand new facility for our science students this past year. I believe they're referring to it as Neal Hall. It was originally just called New Science Building. Dr. Jane Goodall was on campus in fall of 2019 and did the dedication of that building. We also have an Institute of Productivity that's going to be for our engineering students. And again, community members in engineering are going to be allowed to utilize the multi-million-dollar equipment within this Institute of Productivity. So that's going to kind of further push the cross collaboration of our students with community members. So that's going to be coming to campus shortly. And then also we have the Sky House, which is being one of our buildings is currently being retrofitted for this new facility. And that will be for arts and humanities students as well as social sciences. So it's good to see that we have infrastructural development on campus and that we are updating our facilities and have the means to do so. In terms of the application, I'm sure you heard either yesterday or actually we did an entire workshop on this a few weeks ago about the UCAS application. So you would apply to us via UCAS. Our requirements for 2021 are still being determined. We do know that we need to be more flexible with restrictions to access to tests like ACT and SAT. But for right now, what we do require is 3 AP or IB exams, usually with a score of 3 on the AP. And I know that's the curriculum I believe you all are in, and then a 3.3 GPA or higher. So our specific programs are going to have specific requirements to them. So if you do have any questions, you can always reach out to me to find out more. Interviews would be required. Most of them can be done via Skype, and then auditions or portfolios may be required, auditions specifically for our drama course. We do also offer scholarships. So I mentioned the sports scholarships. Our 2021 scholarships are to be determined. The terrible news is that honestly, I don't think they're going to be as great as they have been in the past. That's due to budget deficits with COVID-19 and just a couple of other factors are rolling into that. So unfortunately, if anybody is coming for 2021, we probably won't be able to offer such robust scholarships. But for right now, these are what we've had in the past, and you can look or contact me later. They should be listed by November, I would hope, on our on our website. We're also FAFSA loan eligible, and then Tim did mention the the Tier 4 student visa, and you're eligible to work for that either on campus or off campus. Our costs for 2021 started about $22,000 US, and those are our non-lab courses. They do go up in cost from there. And then the cost of living that's set by the UK government outside of London, so this is pretty much for every place, is estimated at about $12,000. But given the fact that Norwich is a pretty affordable place to live, though with a high standard of living, you can probably live more affordably than this, but the word of warning is students could probably also live more extravagantly than this, depending on the choices that they are making. So with every university, obviously, we hope that you connect with us, check out our videos. There's probably campus tours popping up. There's open days. You can interface with students. So we have a US student ambassador from California. I believe she's from Fremont, actually. And so you could talk with her. You can also interface with other students. We also have an Ask an Academic feature if you do want to talk to somebody from the program that you're interested in. And then obviously, too, you can interface with us on social media. My recommendation, not just for UEA, but for every university, is to check out what other students are tagging us in. So not just what our official channels are saying, because that's obviously going to give you a rosy picture, but see what students, again, are tagging us in, see what they have to say about our universities, kind of in that unofficial sense. And then finally, happy birthday, Miss Adler. It is her birthday today, so make sure that you do say happy birthday to her. I don't know if she's going to be happy with me or not after this, but yes, it's her birthday today. And then finally, here's all of our contact information, but we will open it up for questions and answers now, and I think Miss Adler is going to facilitate that for us. So yeah, if you have anything, please let us know.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Now blushing. See that? You're very sweet. We will do Q&A in 1 second. I just want to mention that I happen to be sitting next to, I think her name was Nicole, right? From Fremont. I believe her name was Nicole. At lunch one day when I was visiting UEA, and she was lovely for one thing, but she chose UEA over Brown. I don't remember what her reasoning was, but she was so taken with UEA and the program that she was going into. So it's such a great example of like really finding the right fit, regardless of, you know, reputation and rankings and all that stuff. Like she just really felt like UEA was the place for her and really took off there. So kind of awesome. Okay, so you guys have everyone's contact info. So let's open it up for questions. So students, please, you know, type your questions in the chat. You also are welcome to turn on your mics and just ask them. And please don't be shy. I'm 100% sure that if you have questions, probably some of your classmates have the same ones. There are no bad questions. There's a huge learning curve here. I just learned a ton because I have not been to Imperial or to Bristol, and I hope I'll be able to visit there soon. Anybody? Give it a second. One brave soul usually kicks it off, and then people will ask more. And as the speakers said before, we did have a UCAS workshop, and that was recorded, so that will be up on the counseling website soon, and then the workshop last night, and a number of other ones. Any questions about requirements, campuses, applications? We have a question. Yay, thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, so the question is, for AP test requirements, can some of your scores be from your senior year? That's an excellent question. Who would like to address that?
Yeah, they can be from junior or senior year. As long as you've taken the AP exam and got the grade, it doesn't matter when you take it. Obviously, the odd thing with the US versus the UK is that in the UK, you'll apply in your from the 1st of September of your senior year, but you might not yet have taken the AP test. So when you apply, you just need to submit on the application form the AP tests that you've obviously taken in junior year, but also the ones that you are taking in senior year. So like Catherine said before, you know, it may be you're applying for a course that has a prerequisite like AP Calculus BC, which we would see as equivalent to a maths sort of equivalent to a maths A level in the UK. So you might be taking that in senior year, and then your offer may then be conditional on the test score you would get in that. So junior year or senior year is possible. Technically, if you take all of the APs that you require in your junior year, you could then apply, and then you could meet the conditions at application. So that's just the way it works. And then obviously the big benefit with the UK is that because we are very transparent, so Essex, UEA, Imperial and Bristol and all UK universities, as far as I'm aware, will have detailed on their websites what the entry requirements are. So if you apply and you meet those requirements, it's almost certain that you will be offered a place. Okay, so when people in the US ask us, what is your acceptance rate? Well, my answer is often it is either 0% or 100%. You either get what we ask you to get or you don't. So in a way, it's much more transparent, and it makes it a much easier process because you know what you've got to achieve, and you know if you're likely to achieve that when you're making your application. Hope that's helpful.
Thank you, Gary. That was great. Yeah, you guys will find that in general, in the UK and really kind of everywhere, it's a lot more transparent than here. It's tempting to like compare the two systems, but it's really quite different, and it's refreshingly transparent. Like as Gary said, they will kind of tell you, you know, what requirements you need, and like unless you really bomb your essay or something, right, you have a really good shot to get in, versus here where it's very obscure, right? You may get in, you may not get in, right? Like UC tells you you need a minimum 3.0, but we all know that that doesn't really get you super far with some of the more selective campuses. So it's really great to have this sort of option.
Yeah, and there's no quotas in the UK. So what we don't do is we don't create artificial cohorts. What will never happen in the UK is you'll never have a group of university staff sat in a room, you know, pitching one applicant against another applicant, saying, well, oh, look, my student here has, you know, done really, really well at sports, and my student here has come from a really tough background, and my student here is from a certain criteria. That doesn't happen. It's just pure academics.
Yeah. And then another difference I want to point out is about the conditional offers. Here, all your testing has to be done by December generally, right? like everybody pretty much knows that amongst American universities when you're applying. Like if you miss that December SAT or ACT, that's the last date that colleges will typically consider. And in the UK, and again, in many other countries, you can take your testing all the way through the end of your senior year most of the time. So if you get a conditional offer, you have all that time and it's 100% guaranteed. So if they make you an offer and you meet those conditions, they cannot pull that offer back later on. So that is guaranteed for you as long as you meet the conditions. So again, really kind of a neat difference. And so in terms of COVID, some of the universities are able to be real flexible and some have not yet waived that requirement. And so if you do still need to take it, you know, hopefully things are going to open up by the end of this school year for those of you who are seniors, and you may still be able to take that testing if you need it. So anyway, I'm talking too much. I'll give it back to you guys. We have another question. Have college/university theater program auditions moved for now online, and are they usually in person either in America or England? Great question.
I can take that one if you like. So in normal times, yeah, they would be in person. Well, for ourselves at least. So our university goes to it's Toronto, New York, and in between either San Fran or Los Angeles every year to audition students. But I think that's a rarity. I think most other acting schools will probably be doing online anyway. At this point, all auditions have been moved online, and that's going to be the case for the foreseeable.
Which does make it easier for our students, actually.
Yes.
Thanks, Tim. Any other last questions? These are really good questions. Anyone? We've got like a few more minutes. No? Okay. All right then. Well, there's a lot of great info here. We will get this presentation posted as well in the near future. Students, please do reach out to the university representatives. They are here and so enthusiastic to help you. I hope that what you took away from this is that this is very much approachable, affordable, transparent, and really welcoming. You know, it feels a lot of the time like in the US in the admission process, it's about like exclusivity, right? Is like the small amount that get in and everyone else doesn't get in, and it's kind of this pressure cooker game, right? And really in the UK, it's quite welcoming. Like you meet the requirements, you're going to probably get in, and they want you, and they do so much, which we couldn't even get into here in this hour. They do so much to take care of students as well. Once you get to campus, there's all kinds of just student perks. And the universities have staff that are dedicated to international students. So it's not like, you know, you get there and you're far away from your family and they throw you to the wolves. You get a lot of support when you're there. You always have people to go to as you're adjusting and when you need help and stuff like that. So yeah, great. So reach out to the reps. You're also welcome to reach out to me with questions and I can put you in touch with people. And unless there's any other last questions, we're gonna wrap it up for this morning. Going once, going twice. Yep. All right, thank you so much to everyone, to our university reps, some of whom are in the UK. And just a quick extra shout out to Tim because he was with us last night for our evening webinar at 4 a.m. and bounced right back to be with us this morning. So thank you. But to all of you, it's been great to have you, and thanks to the students for being here. And we'll see you soon. We've got, as I said, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Ireland, and Wales next week. So check those out. All right. Have a great rest of the day and evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daphna.